Finally, we are back with a full-length episode. We have not had one of these in a little while. We've been getting settled into college, but I think we have an exciting little, adventure to go on today because we've got your power rankings, and probably sometime next week we'll end up seeing my own. But I'm really interested to see where you got teams. This one's going to be good because I'm really going to get to pick on you, like when teams are like one spot apart, and it's like, yeah, they're pretty close, and I could just be like, oh no, that's completely wrong.
Why do you have them over them?
Yeah, that's what I'm really excited for, and if you want to get right into it, you can, or if you want to just give some background, you can as well.
Well, just some background for the list. I mean, this is mainly going off of the moves and everything. Obviously, I see that there are some power ranking lists that are just, we're going to take how the teams finished last year, and that's just how our power rankings are going to go, but we're going to move the Jags up like 2 spots because of Trevor Lawrence. Like, every power ranking I've seen seems to have it that way. I didn't do it that way. I went based off of moves and how I think teams are going to perform this upcoming season. So let's start it off. At number 32, I have the New York Giants. The Giants as a team have a lot of talent on that roster, but the quarterback that they have, I don't think he's going to be able to optimize or do anything with that talent that he has on roster. Daniel Jones, I mean, this could be the most far off I am about any team on this list, is having the Giants this low initially. But Daniel Jones in camp, every single camp clip I've seen of him, he looks god awful. They did a lot to give him talent. It's just, you can have all the talent in the world at your ball catchers, but if you don't have the guy to get it to him, it's not going to do much. And that defense still has a lot to be desired for, too. It's still a good unit. It just has something to be desired for.
Yeah, the Giants are a team that I probably would have in that bottom tier of teams. It's fun because I haven't done mine yet, so I get to completely pick on you without actually even knowing how I'm going to approach this at all. But I'll tell you, there's one team that I definitely think I'm putting at 32, and I'm surprised. I'll tell you what, I don't think it's going to be the Giants for me, but they're a bottom tier team for me as well.
Well, you see, I think that team that you'd have at 32 is making a little bit further here, because at 31, I got the Houston Texans. The one thing about these bottom two teams is they have quarterbacks that I do not think can win games. I don't think Daniel Jones can. I mean, Tyrod can, but still, same thing that I said about the Giants' defense. He leaves a lot to be desired when he plays, and usually whatever younger guy, Davis Mills, behind him is going to succeed because he has Ty God in front of him. But the Texans organization as a whole, terrible. They're having Deshaun Watson take up a roster spot right now, which, I mean, I understand you want to get something for him. Sure, but oh my Lord, it just is so much dysfunction. So much dysfunction in that organization. And the team, I mean, I like their multiple running backs approach, I guess, keeping like 5 that they have. Brandon Cooks is really the only solid receiver on that team. Not much from anyone else. Didn't have a lot of draft picks to bring in good talent, good young talent. And the young talent that they did bring in the draft was at positions that they didn't need. Davis Mills, Brevin Jordan. I can't remember what the other picks were there. I think offensive lineman was in there too. They do need offensive linemen, but they took him so late, and they only had late picks. And I don't like anything that the Texans did this offseason, and it won't help them doing bad this offseason either because they don't have their pick for the draft this year.
Well, yeah. I'm pretty sure the Texans only had 3 picks in the draft, so there wasn't much drafting they could do. Not only that, but I mean, you just pointed out 2 of their selections that I don't think either of us were very impressed with. And they also managed to do stuff like trade for a tight end in the offseason. And Ryan Izzo, I'm pretty sure they did that this offseason, and they cut him already. So,
yeah.
I mean, that's not even surprising considering what we said about their tight end room. But they were adding to like one position that they had that we thought was competent. And then they had like 20 out of 22 positions that were just like, yeah, you probably could have an upgrade there, and they just were adding to the tight end depth instead, and it was just like, oh boy, They're a mess. So, yes, I'm not going to argue that one either.
All right, now here at 30, I got the Philadelphia Eagles, the team that I think you thought should be right there at the bottom. The Eagles have something that the other two teams don't, and that's an electric quarterback in Jalen Hurts at times. At times, he's an electric, and he has that push now. He's got Gardner Minshew behind him, and so it's Jalen. You can't mess up now. You have to play to the best of your ability every game for all 17 games, because if you don't, we got a guy with a mullet waiting to take your job now. And even if that does happen and Gardner Minshew comes in, you're replacing one guy with electricity with another guy with electricity. All that the Eagles have to do is not have Joe Flacco get in there at quarterback, and they still have like a chance to win most. Not, I shouldn't say most of their games because they do lack talent, but a quarterback does like win you games, and they have guys that aren't going to lose you games. I should say that they have quarterbacks that won't lose you games.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Jalen Hurts could still lose them a game just because he doesn't have a ton of experience. But yeah, they definitely have two quarterbacks there that I could literally see basically beating like anybody in the league. I mean, maybe there's like a few teams like I don't see them beating like Kansas City or Tampa Bay, but anybody else I feel like they got a chance against just because they do have some competency at the quarterback position.
Mm-hmm. At 29, I have the Detroit Lions, team that we saw in person. I think if I would not have watched that Bills-Lions game or just these Lions games over the preseason and seen how bad Dan Campbell has handled some like time management situations or play calling situations, I might have them a spot or two higher. But boy, does he hold them back. And like, maybe that's just inexperienced preseason for everybody. Doesn't know how to like run this or anything. But you would think that the preseason would be his chance to try everything out. And it's like, oh, well, let me get a challenge off here. No, let's cancel that. Let's run what I think we should do here, just to see the look for it when we get to the regular season. I do like that he surrounded himself and his coaching staff, or his coaching staff that he surrounded himself with is a bunch of guys that know it and played the game. But if he's just going to let them all take over and he's not going to like step in and he's just there to be a leader of men and not there to like actually coach, I don't see the Lions doing much at all. And I do like that they adapted the offense to Jared Goff. We saw that in the preseason. They have a decent running back room. Tight end's good. But offense as a whole, I mean, you're not going to get much with Jared Goff there. You got the most you could get with Jared Goff in LA, and that offense was awesome with the weapons he had. Major downgrade here with the offense, and the defense is not fantastic.
Yeah, the roster in Detroit, honestly, heading into this offseason, the two teams that I was looking at that I was expecting to be the potential worst teams in the league this year were Houston and Detroit. I will say that if you just compare those two straight up, heading right from the last play of last season coming over to this season, I think those were the two worst rosters transferring over year to year. But because of who we knew they were going to lose and how things would go, but we didn't know who they were going to acquire. Detroit acquired enough guys to get out of the basement of the league, like the complete basement of the league, while the Texans didn't, and they're still all the way down there. So yeah, it's barely a notch up, and like you said, not impressed with Dan Campbell up to this point, even though it was only 3 preseason games.
Yeah, the Lions did just enough to get out of the 30s for me. At 28, I've got the New York Jets. The Jets, their defense took a toll just a couple weeks ago with Carl Lawson going down, and that's a main thing that they need to build up, especially with these offenses that they're going to be playing in the AFC East. If Miami can get Tua going and have him be the quarterback that everyone thought he could be coming out of Bama, the Patriots, now that Mac Jones is the starter, he's going to be something to reckon with that 2 tight end system that Belichick's going to bring back with Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry, and the Bills having one of the most electric offenses in the NFL. You need a defense to stop that. The Jets have tried. They brought in Shaq Lawson to do that, drafted Zach Wilson to go toe-to-toe with these offenses. I'm not a big Zach Wilson fan. He has shined in the preseason though, but he also doesn't have that many weapons like Corey Davis, Jameson Crowder, Denzel Mims, uh, the who's
Braxton
kid?
Berrios.
Yeah. No,
Elijah Moore.
Yeah. So a lot of unproven talent. I mean, I'm calling Corey Davis an unproven talent, and Jameson Crowder. Jameson Crowder is good. He's one of the better slot receivers in the league. Corey Davis is still unproven to me. His best year came when he's playing alongside AJ Brown, and now he's going to be a number one receiver in an offense that he's never like been that before, really. And when he was that in Tennessee's offense, he wasn't good. So going here, maybe just the plethora of wide receivers there helps him succeed. But not having a lot of talent in the ball catcher department and having basically zero talent at running back hurts them a lot. And the defense just being very shallow at all three phases.
Yeah, the secondary is absolutely miserable on this team. Linebackers and defensive line had major injuries with Carl Lawson being gone, and now I'm pretty sure Gerard Davis, who they acquired from Detroit in the offseason, is gone as well. Those are huge injuries at each set, so I mean that's killing them. That basically means that the defense is a mess. They get a few guys back that missed last season, but honestly not enough. On the offensive side of the ball, you're right. I can't see much of a run game considering they don't have a single running back that is proven. And passing the ball, the only thing that I think hurts the Jets really is the fact that they have a bunch of decent receivers, but they're all like mid-level number 2 receivers. There's no number 1, and I don't know where Zach Wilson is going to just go with the football whenever he doesn't have any clue. Even though I said like I'm actually ready for Elijah Moore to do a lot better this season than I said in the offseason, I'm not ready to say like he's gonna start being a great guy to just chuck a ball up to in double coverage with his build and whatnot.
Yeah. The next up after them is a team that I'm giving the slight edge to, the one spot above, because of a better defense and better ball catchers, and that's the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jags took the one quarterback that the Jets were trying to tank for all season, but messed that up. So they get Trevor Lawrence. That's an immediate upgrade at quarterback, I think, as much as I love Gardner Minshew. Their wide receiver talent is great, especially for a team that was in the basement last year, bringing in Marvin Jones and Jamal Agnew and still having DJ Chark and Laviska Shenault is great. That defense is still young, and they have some key pieces. They're going to be coming back from injury, hoping that they bounce back. If those young guys on defense weren't hurt last season and didn't play, like if they would have played all of last season, I would definitely have the Jags higher. But it's just can these guys bounce back from their injuries kind of thing, keeping them this low.
Yeah, I think they can. I feel like you're about right on the Jags. I don't know. I'm starting to like really analyze where I would go with these teams, but it's kind of hard without having every one of them in front of me. I feel like that's about right.
Yeah. And then at 26, I've got the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals are a team that murdered the draft in a bad way. Like their first round pick, Jamar Chase, I think almost everyone, at least after this first I don't even know if they'd want like Penei Sewell because he also didn't look great in the preseason either. But when you have a chance to protect Joe Burrow, who like broke his leg last season, or tore his ACL, he didn't break his leg, I know that. You have a chance to protect your franchise quarterback, one of the best college quarterbacks in the history of football, or hey, we'll get you one of your running mates in college there. They bring in Jamar Chase, who is having terrible drop problems now. So would that even be a plus if that carries into the season? The defense, it seems like everyone that they lost, they brought in someone just a bit worse.
Yep.
And the guys that they drafted, like Tyler Shelvin, Joseph Osai, It's not really something that great in terms of D-line, and you want to up pass rushers. You're getting Tyler Shelvin, who cannot move at all. Their secondary is good. I like Jesse Bates, but outside of him, kind of a shallow secondary. Linebacker is okay. I think 26 is the good spot for them until I can actually see Joe Burrow get back out there and like lead that team.
Yeah, 26 is a good spot for him, but this is kind of what I just said. And like, I don't have every team in front of me, so I don't know how I feel about this. And yeah, I don't think there's any way that I put Jacksonville behind Cincinnati when I come around in like a week. That's what I'll say.
Okay. Okay. I just think Joe Burrow is the better quarterback. That's the one thing that I upped it for him. All right, 25. I got the Las Vegas Raiders. Gruden and Mayock have disassembled a team. Like, if they would have brought back the same team from last year, like hot or low 20s, maybe even into the high teens here, maybe the Raiders sneak into. They just tore it apart. Like, it's so bad. And then they drafted 3 safeties. They mishandled the draft every year. Every year they mishandle the draft. It is ridiculous. But, I mean, the talent is still there on the roster. I'll give Derek Carr his due. He is like the definition of mediocre quarterback. Like, just good enough to not lose his job. But, like, they lose John Brown, who's probably the best receiver on the team, because he's like, yeah, cut me. I don't want to be here anymore. Please release me. Not potential. Like, I mean, Henry Ruggs has the most potential on that team. John Brown at that time was the best receiver on the team, but he's like, please cut me. I don't want to be here. So now they got Henry Ruggs and Zay Jones and Hunter Renfrow, and who's the one guy that Gruden compared to T.O. or Randy Moss?
Oh, Marcel Aitman?
Yeah.
Was
like,
it him?
I think so, but the Raiders are just a laughing stock of an organization. I think it's even funny that they're this high on the list, but it's just because they maintain enough talent to not be in the basement, but they get rid of all of it to not be like fighting to be in the upper echelon.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we had one of the best offensive lines in the league last season. Let's just scrap it. Let's just get rid of it.
That was all scheme.
Yeah, that was all scheme, so we could just, draft another guy. Draft a tackle that falls into the late second or mock to late second, early third, and pick him up in the first.
And remember, we have to qualify this statement because last time you said something nasty about the Raiders, and I'm saying not even nasty, it was actually kind. It was saying that the Raiders had a good O-line last year, but then people said because the entire year, like, a bunch of them were injured, it meant that they weren't good. And it's like, no, that's not how it, no, they're still good. Just because they weren't on the field doesn't mean they're not good.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No argument on the Raiders.
At 24, I got the Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals brought in a ton of talent. That talent just so happens to be elderly. I don't know, and they bring in all this elderly talent, and then they let go Larry Fitzgerald. I don't like that. I mean, I don't know how much Larry would help the team. This is just me airing my grievances right now about this. I don't like that they're just letting Larry walk, because I bet you in Cliff Kingsbury's mind, he's like, we'll sign him back when we go on the playoff run. We'll sign him back then. It's like, Cliff, you're not going to go on a playoff run. You're going to be running out of Arizona after this season, bud. But the pass rush looks great on that team. Linebacker, they're building it up. It's not that great, but I shouldn't say it's not that great. They have Isaiah Simmons. They have Zaven Collins. Can they actually use those guys is the big question. Or are they just going to move them both to safety? Like, I know Zaven Collins doesn't have the versatility that Isaiah Simmons has, so he's definitely going to play linebacker. But if they just are like, oh, you're an off-ball. Oh, you're an on-ball. Oh, you're an off-ball. And they just can't figure it out, and then he ends up spending like 33% of the game on the sideline. That's not helping anyone. They have like Isaiah Simmons listed as a safety and a linebacker. Just play him at linebacker. It hurts my head. The team hurts my head. And the offense, loaded with talent. The offense is loaded with talent. They have Cliff Kingsbury calling plays for it though. Like this team, like I don't know, the Lions aren't even docked that much because of coaching. The Cardinals are docked so much on my power rankings purely because of who their head coaches and or just that coaching staff in general and how plays are called for them. It it's so sad because that team can be so good, but the guy that holds the clipboard is holding them back so much.
Yeah, I'm understanding your perspective, but I do think the team is too good, even with as poorly as we think they are coached as compared to other NFL coaches, and want to qualify that because all NFL coaches are good coaches. But but with that being said, Cliff Kingsbury in that bottom tier
Is
of
the
NFL
worst.
coaches. And yeah, I think you're docking them just slightly a little bit too much because they've got some superstar players that are just irreplaceable. But it's a pretty bad situation in your organization when players just start saying, yeah, I know the season's about to start, but I got something going on and I'm retiring. No, I can't tell you what it is. I just gotta go. So
Hmm. Yeah. Uh, at 23, I have the Carolina Panthers. I moved the Panthers down to this spot just today because they released David Moore. Don't know why. Released David Moore. And that's a terrible move. I had them above the team. Like I had them at 22, not 23. I moved them down this one spot because that's terrible player management, getting rid of David Moore. Uh, I don't know what happened with him. Maybe there's a good reason something cut him, but if they just cut him to cut him, it's stupid. So I'm thinking of it like that way and bring him down the spot. The Panthers have a great load of offensive talent. They have a great offensive coordinator, great young offensive coordinator. Defense is young too. Like Carolina is where I think Jacksonville can be in a year. Like the situation that Carolina has themselves set up in, where it's like we could really have a boom year. And even if it's a bust year, I don't think it would be a bust for a lot of people. Like if they go 6-11, I don't think a lot of people would be like, that's a bad year for the Panthers because everyone's expectations for them are so low. But I do think that they have the ability to boom and have a great season like that. It's just losing David Moore was bad. And Matt Rule seems like a really good coach to me.
yeah.
So I have them at 23.
Yeah. Honestly, when we talked about power rankings, this was one of the first teams that came to mind of just like, I wonder where the heck he's going to throw him in. Because, I mean, now you haven't said the Vikings yet, so apparently the Vikings are ahead of him, which I'm half surprised you did that. Um, but, yeah, no, I didn't hear about this David Moore news until you just told me about it. So, yeah, that does make me go, like, take a double take. Like, what's going on here? I kind of like what you've been doing, and what's that all about? So, okay.
Mm-hmm. At 22, I got the Denver Broncos. Uh, the Broncos, I think they could make a pretty good move by signing Cam Newton. I really do. That could be big for them. Uh, but the one position that, and I know this is me being hypocritical here because I said this about the bottom two teams that they don't have a quarterback, and the Broncos really don't either. It's between Teddy Bridgewater, Drew Lock, and they went going with Teddy. At some point in the season, it's going to change. It's bound to. But Teddy is safe, and they have a bunch of weapons that he can get the ball to. A bunch of guys with great talent, and Teddy is safe with it. He's not going to turn the ball over, and that's really all that I think you need in that offense to facilitate it. And the defense is going to win you games. And I know my whole thing with the regular season is the offense is going to win you games in the regular season. Come postseason, that's when the defense will help you out. But the Broncos are going to be the exact opposite of that. Like Teddy, we need you to score like 14 points for us, and then the defense can like hold them to like 13 maybe. It's like that's all that they need Teddy to do. Just get us two touchdowns. Just get us two touchdowns, maybe a field goal in there, and we'll hold them to 13.
I'm really wondering how many points per game the Broncos are going to allow. Because you're exactly right. This feels like for us, it probably feels almost as close to like a 2017 Buffalo Bills team as I can remember. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's nothing too exciting, but hey, it could be a playoff team for all we know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you can sneak into the playoffs. I mean, the AFC is going to be a dogfight, but I think if there's a team that could sneak in, it probably would be the Broncos because they have that talent. They have the talent too. It's just the guy throwing the ball is the one thing holding that back, and it just so turns out that the guy that throws the ball is the biggest position on the football field.
feel like there's too many obstacles in the AFC for them to sneak in. They're probably going to be 8th or ninth in the conference for me, but yeah.
Right there. They're right there. At 21, it's the same thing that I have for the Broncos. Defense is a little worse. I have the Atlanta Falcons. The only reason I have that is because I look at quarterback talent and I look at the defense between the teams. Broncos have better defense. Atlanta has a way better quarterback than what they have, so that just gets them the raise there because, like I said previously, in the regular season, I value offense. I don't I value defense, but I overvalue offense because that's what's going to win you the games. And so that's what gets the Falcons this one spot. I do like Arthur Smith. He was my favorite coach hire of the offseason. He hasn't really impressed me that much in the preseason, but I hope he shows out, pulls some rabbits out of hats, and does some great things for the Falcons, and also Kyle Pitts. I mean, the Broncos have a great talent for their ball catchers. Kyle Pitts is just something else, man.
Yeah, you're in the right range for the Falcons for what I'm thinking. Me thinking it's a little too high. I don't think the defense can stop enough of what other offenses are going to do against them to make it so that the offense has to score any less than like 80% of the drives, and I don't know how likely it is that the offense scores 80% of its drives, even with all the weapons they have out there.
Yeah. All right. I understand that. At 20, I got the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers make it this high mainly because of where they finished last season. I know I said I was going to do that, but when it came to the Steelers, I felt like having them I have them in the 20s, but lower than 20 would be a little too ridiculous without actually seeing them play. I know what I'm predicting. I think they're going to be one of the worst teams in the league. Didn't really do much to revamp their offensive line. This is just going to be me hating on the Steelers. I mean, I have them at 20 because of where they finished last season and the record that they had last season. Other people have them way higher because of that reason, purely. I have them, they're clinging to 20 because of what happened last season. I think the team got way worse this offseason.
How many weeks does Big Ben play football before he gets some sort of injury that would be super minor to anybody of a reasonable age before he just becomes completely incapable of looking like an NFL quarterback?
5. I think week 5. If he gets, but then also if they do somehow if they're doing bad, I could see Ben retiring week 10 when his arm you can see it in the older quarterbacks as the season goes on, their arm gets weaker. Drew Brees is a great example of this last season. Arm gets really, really weak, and it has to be killing him. If they're out of the hunt, only have 2 wins or something, I could see him just being or not officially retiring. He'll wait till the end of the season to do that. But be get Haskins or Rudolph out there. I don't want to play anymore. I'm not going to risk getting my head taken off just to ride this out.
That's fair. I don't know if he seems like his mindset has changed in recent years, so I don't know how likely it is that he's just going to be a quitter like that, and that's, I mean, other people may not call it quitting, but I feel like that's how I'd interpret it if he really did that, even if they were bad. I mean, Eli was still trying to play when the Giants were 2-13 in his final year, right? So I mean, yeah. I don't know.
And his whole saving grace would be I knew my time was coming. I wanted the younger guys to get in there and show what they had, see, tryouts of sorts for who will be quarterback after me. That's how he'll save himself if it comes to that. And yes, I just wrote the best Pittsburgh narrative in my head for when they're stinking up the joint at the end of the season. Big Ben, all this controversy.
So Minnesota's a top 19 team in the league. I'm shocked. So
Yeah.
how much
And
further?
they're 19.
Yep, that's what I figured.
Not a big fan of Minnesota. I mean, the offensive talent's there. They got wide receivers, got a running back. Kirk Cousins. I mean, he's right there. He's right there with Derek Carr of being mediocre. He's not gonna lose you a game. I don't think he's gonna win you one either. The defense, it's middle of the road for me. I'm not that impressed with I like Daniil Hunter. I like Eric Kendricks. Like Harrison Smith. Other than that, defense very middle of the road for me.
Man, I'm you know what I gotta say about that. Just tell me who 18 is.
Kellen Mond wears 11.
No, tell me who 18 in your power rankings is.
I was like,
I'm not.
I thought you were trying to make a comment like Justin Jefferson's gonna like be the saving grace for that team. And I'm like, what?
No, it's just like you're just like, yeah, the offense is no good. Literally has 0 holes on offense, and even when they almost
Their
did,
line
because
is not that fantastic, dude.
you watched them run outside zone. I don't think Dalvin Cook's that great either, and that's why I feel like it has something to do with the line because he's able to put up monstrous numbers every year.
And it's also because they just force feed him because they know that the guy that's under center ain't that good.
Oh yeah,
And he's good, and I mean, he's bound to miss a couple games this season.
Why is he bound to? Oh, because
he's gonna get protocol.
Because he's unvaccinated, and there's what? How many quarterbacks do you think are unvaccinated? I bet Josh Allen isn't even vaccinated. He hasn't said it, but
he is because when he went to go see the Suns playoff game, he had to be to get in there. That's how everyone found out because his girlfriend posted pictures of them at the Suns game, and you had to be to get in there.
Oh boy, dang. Well, we got to figure out who the other quarterbacks are because
that'll be after your power rankings. That'll be our next show.
Yeah,
it's just us going through all 32 teams, going over their starting.
I could see the Vikings coming in at like number 30 if Kellen Mond was starting at QB.
And then every week it's gonna get higher, and then every week it's gonna get higher.
Every week it's gonna get lower somehow, even though it's only 2 spots to drop.
Man. At 18. I got the Colts. Carson Wentz, he is back from his injury, maybe. I don't know. He might get hurt again, probably. The Colts defense is better than the Vikings defense. Like I don't know how. You're not gonna argue with that, okay?
No.
Okay. Because that's a reason I have it above there. I understand that the Vikings they have Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, who are great, and they have Dalvin Cook, who's okay. The Colts offense has Michael Pittman, who I think could have a pretty big year. T.Y. Hilton, who's old. Like, I'm not gonna make an excuse for T.Y. Hilton. He's old. He's not gonna be that effective. But their run game is what's going to save them because Jonathan Taylor was playing out of his mind at the end of the last season. And unlike the Vikings, the Colts actually do have a solid offensive line. I'm not just making that up in my mind like you are.
Yeah, they have Quentin Nelson. I think that's the one player we can guarantee on the Colts offense is better than the player on the Vikings offense at the same position. I think that's the only one you can guarantee.
And the Colts tight end position is better than the Vikings as well. Just say you hate Mo Alley Cox. Just say it.
No, I don't hate him. I don't know if he's that crazy. I mean, he's huge, which is a huge plus. But
who else is a tight end on the Vikings?
Chris Herndon.
Oh, they did trade for Chris Herndon.
But
yeah.
Irv Smith is injured. That's why they traded for Chris Herndon.
Yeah, okay, never mind then. I'm done with this. I'm moving on to 17. And at 17, I got the Bears. The Bears would be a couple spots higher if I knew week 1, because this is like week 1 power rankings. If I knew Justin Fields was playing week 1, they're higher than this. He's not, though. But, and I understand week 1 power rankings, they're also this high because at some point of the season, Justin Fields will be getting in. But that defense is probably a top 2, top 3 defense in the league. They just need a quarterback who is not Andy Dalton, not Nick Foles, not Mitch Trubisky. Actually, I shouldn't say that. They need Matt Nagy to not be like the offensive play caller, because after seeing what Trubisky did with the Bears, or did to the Bears in that preseason game, I mean, but
I don't think Matt Nagy's an awful play caller, but I think Brian Daboll's an amazing play caller. I also think that Matt Nagy is a decent schematic coach, while not being a good like depth chart coach whatsoever.
No, yeah. He just the way he conducts player personnel, I don't like it.
They just cut Daz Newsome.
That's stupid. That's
I don't get it. I don't know.
I don't know. There's a lot of receivers that got drafted in the early rounds that got cut. I mean, Des Fitzpatrick got cut by the Titans too. It's just something that's been going on, but they have a lot of talent on that offense. Like I said, top 2 defense in the league. They just needed to come together with the quarterback. It's the same thing as the Broncos, but they actually have that guy. It would be like if the Broncos drafted Justin Fields and still decided to play Drew Lock.
Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah, it still decided to play Teddy Bridgewater. It wouldn't make any sense.
Oh man, tough stuff.
At 16, I got the Saints. This spot for them mainly because I don't know. Like, I know that they have Jameis as the starter. I don't know how that's gonna go. I don't. It doesn't seem like if you're committing to Jameis to be the starter, he's going to be the starter the whole season. Well, for me, if they would have committed Taysom to be the starter, at some point they could have taken him out. I don't know how that's going to go, though. Seeing the Saints without Drew Brees is going to be weird. I would not hesitate to put them higher. It's just all the uncertainty of that offense. Defense is great. And I understand that, you could just say, well, the offense just becomes Alvin Kamara then. If you have your running back be your entire offense for the whole season and you somehow make it into the postseason, you're not doing anything when you get there because that dude is gassed. Like, he is done.
Do you not remember when Adrian Peterson and Joe Webb went into Green Bay and got absolutely demolished?
Yeah. And that was in a 16-game season. That was back in my day.
Yeah, that was back in my heyday. No, you're kind of hitting the nail on the head. You really got to put a lot into Jameis this season.
Yeah. And at 15, I got the Seattle Seahawks. Another team with uncertainty, not at the quarterback position, because I think that's probably the only spot on that team that they are certain. And
Receiver.
I'm pretty sure. Oh, yeah. Okay. Receiver, quarterback, and then everything after that is just. I mean, the defense does not look good. They get this high purely because of Russ, DK, and Tyler Lockett. I mean, they got a lot of tight end depth. I like that. Pete Carroll doesn't really use tight ends that much, though. It's usually one out there at a time. But I could see them two tight end sets would be great. I don't think they're going to do it, though. It's hard. Like, other than goal line, I don't really remember Pete Carroll calling that up that much. Maybe that's probably because he hasn't had 2 solid tight ends, but
they got a new OC though, so I mean it could change. But pretty sure his name is.
Who's going to block for Russ then?
Shane Waldron, but
he's going to block for Russ.
He's another Shanahan guy, so half the league's going to be running that system by the end of this season. So we'll have to see if that gets slowed down anytime soon because it really is half the league now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. At 14, I got the Chargers. Expecting a big year out of Justin Fields. Defense looks good. They got the defensive mastermind, Brandon Staley, in there. I like the pass rushers. Like Derwin James coming back finally. He's helped healthy. He made it to September without getting hurt. Everyone rejoice. We finished preseason without Derwin James getting hurt.
Oh, Jake, you can't say it yet. There's still practices left. He has to actually play at least one full play in the regular season before I can confirm it.
Derwin James is back. I like how the defenses, the offense. I mean, the one concern with bringing in this defensive guy and Brandon Staley was it's a little takeaway from Justin Fields, but Brandon Staley, former college quarterback, he knows what it's like. He's surrounded Justin Fields with a good quarterback coach and a good offensive staff that will help him, and having Keenan Allen there, that makes any quarterback's job easier.
Yeah, I agree. Could be looking at the receiver depth a little bit and questioning it. Still looking at Mike Williams, just wondering, can this guy really separate? Because, kind of just gets used in jump ball fashion, and then it's kind of like, what else is going on there? Since I've been talking about my issues with the defense all offseason, I'll point to something else instead that could be a problem for this team. Also, when Hunter Henry was on the field, he was pretty helpful. So, I mean, losing him is bad, but I mean, they've been playing without him half the time for like 3 or 4 years now. So, I mean, they're kind of used to it. Who you got next?
And they also have Jared Cook too. So, I mean, that's a drop off, but it's not that.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm completely forgetting about Jared Cook. Jared Cook is one of the most underrated players in the league. I'm not kidding when I say that. I actually love Jared Cook. He's just getting so old that I forget he's even still playing.
Mm-hmm. At 13, I got the Dallas Cowboys.
Wow.
I like what the Cowboys have. They, all in all encompassing, outside of the Bucks and the Browns, one of the more talented rosters in the league.
Yes.
It's just a matter of coaching and Dak staying healthy. Really, they are in one of the easiest divisions in football. The easiest division in football. They are guaranteed at least 4 wins this season, at the minimum, 4 wins. And also, they weren't the bottom of their division. No, they weren't they? They finished last. Yeah, they finished last. They had the easiest schedule in that division.
No, I think the Eagles finished last. It was Cowboys were playing the Giants week 17.
They finished second to last in their division.
Yeah.
So they still have an easier schedule, and the team talent-wise is the best, best team in that division. I would expect them to make some noise, and with Dak coming back gives them a huge boost here. Because if they didn't have Dak, they would probably be in the mid-20s on this list.
Okay, but I'm basically want to say the same thing I said about Atlanta. I don't think you're realizing this team needs to stop somebody before the offense matters. And the other part of it that you weren't scared to mention earlier when you talked about the Cardinals is I'm going to crap on the Cardinals because of their coaching.
Oh, yeah. Watching Hard Knocks, Mike McCarthy seems like a clown.
I may put him below Cliff Kingsbury, honestly. I'd rather play for Cliff Kingsbury than Mike McCarthy. It's really not even close. There's almost nothing I've ever heard. No, not even almost. There isn't anything I've ever heard Mike McCarthy say that's made me go, oh, if I was an NFL player, I'd want to play for that guy. And it I mean, the Cowboys at 13 with the most middle of the road coach in the league would feel about right to me. But I don't trust Mike McCarthy to get even just average play out of his players. I feel like he brings them down.
I mean, the Cowboys almost went to the Super Bowl with Jason Garrett. I think that they could go on a playoff run with Mike McCarthy.
Jason Garrett's a much better coach than Mike McCarthy. I do. I completely do. And Jason Garrett, when Jason Garrett was coaching that team, I mean, he got cheated out of a few playoff games that where it was like, dude, how can you blame that on the coach?
I don't know. When I think of Jason Garrett now, all I'm gonna think is him correcting the reporters to call him coach. That's all I'm gonna think about of him now. But I have the Cowboys at 13, and now if that got you riled up, this is gonna get you riled up too. I have the Dolphins at 12. Uh, and this is another thing of a team, and this is even more different than the Saints, Bears, Broncos type situation where it's like I don't know how their quarterback's going to do, but literally every other position on that roster is great. It's great. The only thing that's holding them back is Tua.
Great.
Yeah.
Name 3 linebackers on the team.
Van Ginkel.
Okay, we can stop this exercise right now. No, every position on that roster is not great.
No, with the
and I
exception of
didn't even point to running back. Who are you going to give me for running back?
Just throw the ball every play. That's why I said Tua's holding them back.
Oh my gosh. I don't think the roster's bad. I don't think they're 12th. I think that's too high.
Okay. Like I said, you're going to go off your advanced metric spreadsheet. This is the gut feeling metric. At 11, I get the Washington football team.
Okay, that's better. I like this one more.
This is a team that also had a quarterback competition here. Ryan Fitzpatrick came out of it, and the thing with I saw a really funny tweet. It was a reply to like Fitzpatrick highlights over the years on like the football teams Twitter. It's like, get hyped, Ryan Fitzpatrick's our starter. This is his whatever team, and this guy's like, coming from a Dolphins fan, Fitzpatrick's he's gonna win you 7, he's gonna lose you 7, and 2 of them are gonna be toss ups.
Yeah, that's pretty much on the money. Most of your season's gonna come down to how Ryan Fitzpatrick decides to play that week. There'll only be 2 weeks where he plays average, though.
Yeah. But I like it, and even if they want to move away from Fitzpatrick, they got a nice option. Taylor Heineke behind him, wide receiving core. Love what they did there, revamping that. The defense, I mean, top 3 unit in the league, top 4 unit in the league, and it's only going to get better. 2 years from now, probably the best unit in the entire league, just because all those guys are vets at that point. And
yeah.
If Ron Rivera keeps drafting great and he hits with this Jamin Davis pick, just draft a defensive player in the first round every year if he's going to become a future Hall of Famer at this point. Like, if these all hit, that defense is going to be unstoppable. Speaking of unstoppable defenses, I don't even know why I said that. It's just because Belichick coaches this defense. I got the Patriots at 10. Bill Belichick revamped this team in free agency and, dare I say, had the best draft, not only out of the whole draft class, but of his whole career as GM of the Patriots. I don't think that's crazy to say. Brought in a lot of young talent, and he develops talent when he gets it. It's just he's not good at evaluating that talent before he can get it.
Yeah.
He's letting all these guys that he's drafted in the first round go now. Traded Sony Michel, and N'Keal Harry's hurt, but I feel like when he gets off of IR or the PUP list or whatever he's on, he's out of there. I don't like that Gilmore's on the PUP. I do want every player to be able to play, but I feel like when Gilmore's off that PUP, he'll be either revigorated because he is now well rested, or Belichick's going to trade him. I mean, I just think that's how that's gonna go. Bill Belichick does not like when his defenses suck. Defense sucked last year. He's not gonna let that happen again. Bringing back a bunch of guys that sat out last season because of COVID, and also Bill Belichick knows how to coach special teams.
So I was sitting there on draft day thinking, man, these idiots. Justin Fields goes 11th overall. And I look down the draft board, and I'm like, wow, these idiots actually all just managed to decide that they're not going to take this last QB, who I potentially think is the best QB out of these quarterbacks in this draft class. And he's actually about to go into the New England Patriots all the way halfway down the draft board in the first round. And then I thought, okay, they got him. But Cam Newton's still on the team. And I would start Mac Jones immediately, but I don't think they're gonna. I feel like they're gonna waste time with Cam Newton. And then I thought, and then I thought about the Bears, and I'm like, oh, okay, the Bears are a football team who just got Andy Dalton. They said something to him, but they'll realize by the time it's the start of the season, Justin Fields needs to play. And then everything actually played out. And you know what happened? Is everything that has always been true about football, just that Bill Belichick is a smart coach and other people are a lot dumber than him, played out again. Because Mac Jones is the starting QB for this team, and all I can tell you is that for my power rankings, even though I haven't even done them yet, I can tell you this team is much higher already than they would have been if Cam Newton was the starting quarterback week 1.
Yeah, I bumped them up 2 spots from where I had them after the Cam Newton news, because just having Mac Jones come out of the gate, I think you should do that with unless it's a really raw guy. Even then, I don't see any harm in playing the guy immediately if you have an offensive line that can protect him. That's the thing. Don't send a rookie out there to get murdered. At 9, this team would be in my top 5 if they didn't have a bunch of injuries. And also, there was kind of a question there at quarterback, and that's the San Francisco 49ers.
Ooh.
I think if Jimmy G's the starter, top 5, Trey Lance is the starter, top 7. I mean,
wait. I have this team at 9.
No, I'm kidding with that. I have them in the top 10. If Jimmy G gets announced the starter and consistently is the starter, I could see them riding in the top 5. Trey Lance, top 10. The defense, and also what's keeping them low here too, is all these injuries that were on defense and these guys coming back. Same thing with the Jags that I said. Can these guys come back and be what they were before they got hurt? I have no doubt that these guys in San Fran can. It's just, I don't need, the Niners don't play in MetLife this season, right? That's all I need to be sure of.
I hope not.
They can go on a Super Bowl run if they don't play at MetLife.
Hope not.
But
yeah.
Offensive line, they did great in the offseason, locking down Trent Williams, bringing in Alex Mack, draft other guys to develop behind those vets, getting more weapons for the offense to use, getting a franchise quarterback to sit behind Jimmy G, and then still having talent on defense, drafting my number 1 safety in the entire draft class at Talanoa Hufanga. It doesn't get better than that.
I'm just disappointed in the Niners because they finally decided to give Clinton Dix another chance because, everybody decided that he was supposed to be out of the league for some reason. Still don't understand. The safety position in the NFL is still the most confusing thing in the world. But he just got cut again the other day. So, I'm a little salty with the 49ers about that currently, but they are going to be a high-ranked team for me as well. And actually, I feel like I'm a little surprised that you have them this low because we both feel good about them, but I feel like I was lower than you, but now that you're saying this, I'm thinking I may have them higher when I actually do the power rankings.
I really badly wanted to put them in my top 5, but the gap between 9 and 3 here, really, really close. All these teams really, really close.
Okay.
At eight, and this is another team. You and I think that this team is going to be one of, if not the best team in the league next season. Just need to see it after a couple games. When we make our first quarter power rankings here, this team, I wouldn't be surprised if they're 1. They have, like you said, the most talented roster. It's the Cleveland Browns. I know, but sorry. I don't use my root metric spreadsheet that you do, okay? I sit on a park bench and I write it down because that's what my gut's telling me. And that's what I have. I have the Cleveland Browns at 8 here. Still need to see more from them. just some consistency. Baker's made some great throws against Atlanta in the last preseason game. I'm excited to see what he does. Nick Chubb, great. Kareem Hunt, great. Their wide receivers, OBJ's coming back. That is a good thing and a bad thing depending on how it shakes out. Because if some drama with OBJ happens, which I don't think it will, I think him and Baker have reconciled and everything, whatever was going on. But if anything does happen, that's the one thing that I think could stop this team if they have to, like, figure that out. Because and this was said 2 years ago, when a lot of egos on this team, a lot of big personalities. I shouldn't say egos, a lot of big personalities. And those can clash. And I don't think that any of those guys or these guys are like, yeah, I'm just going to set this aside and play ball. So that's the one thing. Other than that, love the team.
I will guarantee it for you right now. Those two will have no issues once the season actually rolls around. Guarantee it. 100%.
Well, yeah, 'cause winning heals everything. But just in the off chance, like, I mean, more like I have them beating the Chiefs. I think a majority of people week 1 have them losing. I'm not saying
I'd hope.
like I'm not saying that like that's gonna spiral into something. But if they lose the first couple, like the first 2, I don't know.
It'd be really weird if I mean the biggest Browns homer around right now is me, but at the same time, like, it'd be really weird if they were favored in Arrowhead opening day.
At 7, I got a team that is similar to the Browns pretty similar to the Browns, except, like we said, don't have the depth that the Browns have, and that's Tennessee Titans. Titans have proven that they can consistently go to the playoffs. That's the one thing. That's the one thing that has these teams over the Browns is consistency making it to the playoffs. Cleveland hasn't shown that, though I do think Cleveland in the next 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years is going to consistently make it to the playoffs. But the Titans, no one's going to stop King Henry. Ryan Tannehill's a very efficient passer. A.J. Brown is the best wide receiver in the NFL. And he also has this guy named Julio Jones next to him, so that helps. Josh Reynolds as well. Defense looked really good in the preseason. Vrabel is what Dan Campbell thinks he is, and that it's just great. One thing is they need to get the special teams sorted out a little bit. Don't really like their kicking and punting situation. I don't think that would move them up. Maybe it would. Maybe they'd get moved up one spot if they had a better kicker and punter situation.
That's because this team is not planning on kicking or punting all season. I'll tell you that right now. But yeah, no, man, they. I know it's You're actually kind of hitting on a point there that's kind of weird to say, but man, that defense is doing something mighty in terms of preseason. They look nice in what I saw.
Yeah. Yeah, the last game was the only game that they let up points in. Other than that, they shut out the teams. So, I think
They let up 3 against the Bucs.
Let up 3. They didn't let up a touchdown before that last game.
Yeah,
that's just because they were playing Justin Fields, and that's going to be impossible to stop.
Yeah,
so I don't even blame them.
Yeah.
At 6, just outside the top 5 here, I got the Los Angeles Rams. Every commentator, sports personality has the Rams in the top 5. I need to see Matthew Stafford play with his team first before I put him into the top 5 here. The defense is solid, one of the best. The offense is going to be cooking with Stafford there now. They actually have a big arm quarterback. I think Sean McVay, he had a playbook designed for Jared Goff, but now his mind can just wander now that he has Stafford's arm back there for him. Just got to wonder how Stafford's going to do on a team that's winning, because very rarely in his career has he been on a team that is winning.
Yeah, my only question is whether or not Deshaun Jackson is going to lead the league in receiving yards.
Oh, jeez, I hate that Madden glitch.
Madden glitch? No, it's just realistic.
One of the best features in the game.
The new Madden, just predicting the season. Have Deshaun Jackson come in as the best receiver in the league. Who's next?
At 5, now starting the top 5, I got the Baltimore Ravens. And this is another thing. Like, this is the reason the Browns aren't as high as I feel. Like, gut feeling has them at 8. But in my brain, it's telling me to put them higher. Like, I really want to put them higher, but I can't find a way to. The Ravens, they do get there higher because of consistency in the playoffs and consistency from Lamar Jackson. I know what I'm getting from him year in and year out. And also that defense and the corners, that whole secondary for the Ravens is one of the best, if not the best unit in the league. And, I mean, losing Rashad Bateman isn't good. He's still having Tylan Wallace is good. Not having J.K. Dobbins either. That I did have the Ravens. Oh, I still had them at 5. I didn't move them after the J.K. Dobbins thing because I think that they could still bring in a veteran running back like Todd Gurley, like Kerryon Johnson. I'm not going to say AP, but his name popped into my head. Just a bunch of running backs got cut in this latest group of cuts.
Wayne Gallman.
Wayne Gallman. You can bring in. They have the choice of running backs throughout the league to bring in. Yeah. So I don't think losing JK is going to be that big of a hit for him.
Yeah, you're probably right. The Ravens play the Packers. The Ravens have to play the Packers this year, right? Because the Packers play the Browns. I know that for sure. And the Packers and the Browns obviously didn't finish in the same spot in their division because the Packers won their division and then Pittsburgh won the AFC North. So if Cleveland and the Packers play each other, that would mean that Baltimore and Green Bay has to play. But now I'm thinking about Green Bay because I know Green Bay's in your top 4, and I'm wondering when that matchup is in the season because I'm just thinking about those teams head-to-head and who I would pick if I was just saying which of those teams is better at this point. And I think I'd say Baltimore.
Well, at 4, I got the Packers. Aaron Rodgers drama holds them out of being 3, really, because that's another thing with, like, same thing with the Browns. They got a lot of drama, and I do think, like, this isn't a team where it's like, oh, yeah, winning's going to heal it, because Aaron Rodgers is like, yeah, I'm winning for me. I'm not winning for you guys. Just seeing him walk through the tunnel when I went to the Bills-Packers preseason game, he just does not care. He's like, I got to get through, like, what's the most, like 21, 22 weeks with this team, and then I'm done. Like that's his mindset. I feel like going to this, like, how much longer until I'm out of here?
Yeah.
But very talented team. Went to the NFC Championship game, so I'm not gonna discredit them at all for that. Definitely have the ability to get back. All matter of, can Aaron Rodgers put his, like, hate to the team to the side and just be like, yeah, let's go get a Super Bowl ring so I can really stick it to him when I leave.
In a season that should be as dysfunctional as any for a team in terms of, like, how much drama they've had built up for them over the offseason, it feels like somehow, some way, the Packers are still going to manage to be competent enough to not even have it matter. And it's just, like, hurting me to say that, but yeah, they're probably going to be in the NFC Championship game again this year somehow, some way.
Mm-hmm. At number 3, I mean, last 3 is obvious for anyone.
Obvious?
Not obvious. Obvious after I named off every other team.
Oh, okay.
Like, the order is obvious for what it's going to be now after I named off these teams. At least I think. At 3, I got the Bills. Like I said earlier, one of the most electric offenses in the league. Josh Allen looks like he's going to get even better, or he has gotten better, so there's nothing stopping him from getting better this upcoming season. Bringing in Emmanuel Sanders, which I don't know how much of an upgrade over John Brown that'll be, but it's still wide receiver talent, keeping the amount of wide receivers that they had. Brian Dable probably just going to be emptying the chamber on every team, trying to win a Super Bowl before he takes a head coaching job somewhere. And also, the defense looks good in the preseason. Like, that pass rush has gotten better. Those young guys look like they can produce right away. Hopefully. Even if they don't, I still see them at 3 because the offense is just that good.
I'm not going to argue it. Bills homer, Josh Allen for MVP. Give me all of it. Yeah, there's no way I'm going to tell you to put my favorite team lower. So
yeah. And
Now, how are you going to order these top two? Are you just going to do the baby version? I think you're just going to do the baby version.
Just going to do the baby version. How the Super Bowl ended. So, the Chiefs are at 2. Patrick Mahomes, very good. Chiefs lost some guys, though. And I'm going to do Chiefs and Bucks here at the same time. Patrick Mahomes, the best quarterback in the NFL. Chiefs lost some guys. Defense is not as good as the Bucks, though. The Bucks brought back everyone. How can you, I'm trying to think. And this is what I was doing when I was making this. Trying to think. The team that won it all and was the best team in the NFL last year, but defeated, won the Super Bowl, best team in the NFL, brings back everyone. How can I not put them at 1? I was trying to think. I'm like, Patrick Mahomes is way better than Brady. Brady could regress, but I've been saying Brady could regress since I was 13. I've been saying that since I was 13 years old. It's not going to happen. I don't think it's ever going to happen.
Well, I mean, you'll hear my opinion on it next week. So, that's what you want to say? That's what you can say for now.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to bet against Tom Brady. I mean, I think the first time I ever swore was yelling at him at the Bills game, and now I'm a sophomore in college. So, I'm not, I'm not someone that, as much as I hate the guy, I'm not going to bet against him.
I'm not betting against him.
I'm not going to put him lower than 1 after what he did last season.
I'm not gonna bet against him at all. But there's another guy that I'd rather bet on more. There's a few guys.
Eagles at 1. Eagles at 1. Joe Flacco.
Yes, Gardner Minshew. You mean Gardner Minshew? Don't misquote me. It's not Joe Flacco. It's Gardner Minshew. Trust me.
Yeah.
All right.
Jacob Eason. Nick Foles. Got a bunch of choices there to put ahead of Brady.
Alrighty. Well, I mean, I knew where most of your team opinions lied, and you still surprised me with a few of the places you put some teams. So, thanks for entertaining me. Are you all set?
Yeah, I think we can cut this here.